Hello, I'm Derek and welcome back to Coach's Corner. This is a podcast designed for professional coaches looking to develop themselves in the fitness industry and improve their one-to-one coaching business. In this episode, I'm joined by special guest Aaron Cook, and as we move into 2023, we discussed a new era of coaching. Aaron is a very successful personal trainer based out of GymBox Westfield, but not only that, Aaron is the PT manager of the GymBox in Westfield, and he is also an educator for the GymBox PT Academy. So as part of the PT Academy, we put on loads of courses for the new PTs that join the company, and Aaron teaches a biomechanics and programming course. So let's get him on. Where is he? There he is. Hello, Aaron. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
How are you doing? You all good?
Good, man. You well?
Yeah, very good, mate. So, welcome to the podcast. First time you've been on. I'm sure I'm probably going to get you on a few times. Great. So, we were talking about this in the other day at work. We was talking about going into 2023, and I said I really want to get on a podcast. And because what you do with the guys that work, what you do at work for the guys at GymBox, all the biomechanics and programming course, we just got talking about what's changed, and I thought that'll make quite a good subject for the podcast. So as we move into 2023, let's talk about the new era coaching and what's changed and what PTs should be looking to do to step themselves up. So the way I always run my podcast is that we kind of have like three key topics we go through, and then we just go in depth and then summarize at the end. So what I want us to talk about, mate, is what's changed in the industry, the types of coaching available, and then what PTs can do and their focus for 2023. So let's focus first of all on what's changed. So what's changed in your opinion in the industry? Because I think it's fair to say the average gym goer, the average member, knows a lot more than what they used to. There's more education out there, right? There's more knowledge around fitness
100%.
out there.
100%. Like now everything's so accessible. Instagram, YouTube. You can get a PT qualification essentially just from YouTube. You can search anything and everything and find an exercise for it. You can find 10 exercises to work one specific muscle. The education of your average gym goer now compared to 5-10 years ago is so much more developed, and it shows in their training, it shows in their interest in training, and it shows basically like them on the gym floor and us as PTs when we go to approach members or just have conversation with members. They're so much more like clued up than they used to be, which is great for us as a coach, but also potentially quite challenging for a new coach in the industry.
Yeah, because if people don't know, the PT manager roles we have at GymBox, the managers are basically mentors. They're there to mentor the PT team within their club. So, you have these conversations all the time, like I do. A lot of people say in GymBox the members are too advanced. I get that all the time. A PT joins and they're like, the members are too advanced, because they're sometimes waiting for a member to do something wrong. They're waiting for a member to be swinging around on a lat pull down or just don't know where to go, and it's just like you're not going to find that anymore. And to attract the more advanced members in the gym, you need to have better conversations. They're not looking for just a random intro into something. They're looking for advice on structured programming and where they can take their training, right? So if you want to talk to these more advanced members, you just need to up your game and change the conversation.
100%. It comes in the product that you're delivering. If you're able to deliver a product that's going to help serve a more advanced member, then great, you're in the right place. You're going to be able to service that member as well as possible. You're going to be able to help upskill yourself as a coach because you're now going to be taking a more advanced client base. However, you're not forgetting the basics of what you've learned before and what you have with those intro members, because you have to have your ability like on a sliding scale. You have to have the ability to know how to help every single person in the gym, whether it be another PT, another member, an instructor, whoever it may be, but also that person who's never stepped foot in the gym before. There's no point overwhelming that newbie with your vast knowledge when you can't explain to them how to basic air squat. Yet you can teach the person who's more advanced over in the corner, okay, they're pulling too early in their snatch. It's like you have to have both. You got to have like the ability to take it right down to the basics, but also the ability to take it right up there into the rafters and actually like help each member that's going to be stepping in front of you in the gym, because ultimately that's how you build your business. You're going to be able to service more people just from your knowledge.
Yeah, I also find there's some members that really challenge me. Like I've got clients that have been with me so long now, but they're like constantly going through different strength cycles, different phases of training, really stepping up their goals, and they bring out the best in me, because I'm like, right, I need to. There's no blag in them. There is no, yeah, there's no just making stuff up. You know, they want to know every section of their program, because they might be, you know, they're requesting, you know, you'll get members now not requesting 2 days a week, 3 days a week training programs. You'll get people going, yeah, so I can commit 5 days, and on 2 of those days I want to train twice a day. And you're just going to get that style of training now. And before we dive into that, because that's going to be on a bit of types of coaching, let's stay kind of what's changed, because COVID's had an effect. And also you're also in, I forgot to mention in the intro, you're also in the Group X world, because you run group classes for GymBox, and we arguably have the best, one of the best Group X models within London, and so much planning goes into our Group X model. So what have you noticed with the effects of COVID, effects within Group X, and put all that together?
Yeah, so in obviously lockdown, everyone was training by themselves, and no one had access to their usual like terms of fitness. So that's when more people actually reached out into doing more programming, looking for an individualized coach. So even myself before lockdown, I was always not on the fence of doing online programming, in terms of like one-on-one, and like the amount of clients that are taken on board on like the online work. So I had like a handful on there, but I was happy and very content with that handful. But since COVID, you had to adapt, you had to be flexible. So then basically every single person that you had in person then went online and then went into programming. And you just find your rhythm, you find your flow with it. You know, like I always found the problem of just like time. Like I'm very busy and I have very little time. And as soon as you set apart, okay, I'm going to have this amount of time and I know how long this process takes to review clients' videos back, give them feedback, give them comments. Okay, cool. Upload their new cycle, their new program, whatever it may be. Okay, cool. Next person, next person, next person. It just takes practice. And as the process gets slicker, you'll then obviously be able to then condense that time down. So then again, you can just essentially uphold like a bigger client base. So in terms of the online programming world, every single coach now should be offering an online like format, you know, because there's people now who are in the gym who don't want to go to classes because they're probably a little bit too advanced now just for that sort of part. But then also they want to have a little bit of guidance, as in they're not too sure. They can go to the gym, they can pretty much competently do most exercises, but they need that guidance, they need that structure, they need to be like kept within the walls a little bit. So like I feel as if every coach should be offering a online program of some such. Yeah, like whether it be a hybrid or whether it be like an actual like online model. Because I feel as if the area of Zoom one-to-one and that sort of thing is now, I find personally, dead. That's gone. Like there is a space for it if you have people online who want to see you. But me personally, I can't sit in front of a screen for like an hour at a time just counting reps. You know, like personally, that's not what I'm passionate about. But that sort of thing has been come and gone. You know, it had its place in time of like fitness, and it will still have its like place somewhere along the line. But the programming, the delivering someone like an online product where they can go utilize and actually go into the gym and do is now regularly available across like every gym, every like, training facility that you go to, because now the members are so much more competent that when you write squat, their understanding of the squat is so much higher than it used to be. Because before, if you wrote squat in someone's program, you were not 100% sure whether they were going to be doing it to your standards, you know? So, and that's something I always talk about on the course with the guys, is the golden standard, like of your standard. As soon as a client, an athlete, or whoever it are, understands your standard, then they'll never ever get it wrong. So again, my standard for everything is essentially perfection. And when they can do a mastery of an air squat, when they can do a perfect air squat, you know that they're going to be able to go load themselves onto a barbell, empty barbell, progressively with like weights on. And if you deviate anywhere from that, then it's not right. You then have to take it back. So the members' understanding of now like the movements and the exercise and the way things go is so much higher. So it enables you to, as a coach, provide an online platform where you can write squat 5x5 at whatever percent, and they actually understand what that means. Where before that was only a terminology set out for coach on coach or like coach and like athlete, but where now you can talk in that language with your average gym member, you know? So definitely like COVID has a massive swing in terms of like the online platform of coaching, whether it be hybrid coaching or just directly programming. But now you see everyone in the gym walking around, checking their phone. What have I got next? Putting it down,
Yeah.
cool, record themselves and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's
it's
great.
cool. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. You're not seeing people just bouncing around machine to machine anymore. Just, oh,
Yeah,
that one's free, let's do
bodybuilding.com.
that. Yeah, and just saying, oh, that machine's free, let's go to that. Now it's, okay, what is next on my program? What's my strength structure? Of
Yeah.
course, you're going to get, we're not talking about every single member, we're just talking about the majority and what's kind of changing. So let's stay on the topic of what's changed. Gyms are changing. Definitely where we
Yeah.
work, we are, we've got some good stuff coming into some of our gyms next year where we're refurbing, relaying out the gyms to make more
Miles
space.
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
miles ahead of like the caliber of equipment that we have access to on a daily basis. We take for granted. We
Hmm.
honestly take for granted so much. Like anytime that I go drop in at another gym, I'll go to like if I go away somewhere, drop into a CrossFit box, and their barbells are a little bit rough, a little bit
Hmm.
rusty. Their sandbags are a little bit dusty, and like this is like we have the best of the best. It's
Yeah.
like as simple as that. We have like the best free weights you can probably get. You have the best barbells. Like, and it pains me to see someone in the gym just go over, just drop a barbell on the floor. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you know how much that costs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do you know how much that costs? Like the facilities and like the equipment in the gym now is so much. It's so different compared to what it used to be. And again, like without like just picking on like one specific brand, but if you look at Pure Gym in the last like 5 years, you used to go to a Pure Gym and it was just machines, free weights.
Hmm.
Now, if you go to a Pure Gym now, they have a section for functional fitness. They have
Yeah. Yeah.
potentially a rig. They have potentially sandbags, a sled, and like all these other little
Yes.
bits. It's like,
Sled. Yeah.
and
A sledge area. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. A
that's the way
sledge
it's
area.
moving
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. The days of machines and lines and endless lines of cardio is cutting back, and we're definitely there's cardio in there, but it's more not functional cardio. But people don't just want to see a bike anymore. They want to see a bike erg and a watt bike. They,
Yeah,
and a salt bike. They want to see all three, so they got an option to do whatever the right style of workout on.
exactly.
You know, you're you're not just getting lines and lines of treadmills anymore. You're getting what they call like the wood
You have the
curve
salt
type of
run,
tread.
yeah, you have the salt runners and stuff like that. Like even just like looking at the barbells, like I can name like 4 barbells that we have at like again,
Yeah,
your entry level like member may not like realize or understand they're just like barbell, but you have a powerlifting bar, you have a rack bar, you have a weightlifting bar, you have an XF bar, you have all these bars in the gym, which is
yeah,
fantastic. It enables you to utilize different things for what exactly they're meant to be. You know, like if you're heavy deadlifting, cool, go grab that powerlifting bar that's got like the really rough knurling. Or if you want to do something a little bit more functional, great, you've got a rig, you've got rings, you've got all these like
mm,
apparatus around that you can use and play around with. You know, like I
yeah,
swear, even like in one of our meetings the other day, a handstand ramp got brought up in a conversation. I'm like, what?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
What
like what
kit?
other gym in London? What other gym in London has a worm just like chilling out
Yeah.
like that's regularly available for people to use? You know, it's crazy. Like the level of equipment in the gym now is ridiculous.
So what's changed? Education and general member knowledge has definitely changed. Effect of COVID, online programming, online models, hybrid models are all in so much more now. The gym layouts, the gyms are adapting massively to what people want, and people want space. They just want
Yeah,
space, access a load of kit. But what else has changed, I think has really, really changed, is that the average Joe can live like an athlete if he
yeah,
wants to now. So
especially now. Yeah,
you, if you want to, um, you know, we're going to pick a sport you and I have done for a while, the CrossFit world and like the functional fitness competition world, such as turf games. There are other brands out there, but such as turf games. If you want to treat yourself like an athlete, you can sign up to multiple competitions throughout the year, right? And
absolutely.
and I think that's what the biggest difference is, and what I'm seeing in the gym. Would you agree? Like more people can compete now.
Yeah, definitely. Like that, it inspires people. You know, it inspires people. They see. At first, originally, it was like, okay, cool. All the PTs and the coaches in my gym were doing these competitions. They were putting these pictures on social media, and then let's just say, for example, then some of the coaches and higher level athletes were then jumping into the competitions and doing
Hmm.
that. And then that then allowed the other members to be like, well, if they're doing it, why can't I? Okay, cool. I'm going to go sign up. And it was just like a really big snowball effect of just like the whole competition, competing, and it's like, okay, cool. I've now got a marker to aim for when I need to be fit by or when I want to peak and all these other little like
Hmm.
scenarios. It's like now people are not just going into the gym to look good for that 1 week holiday that they have to Greece somewhere. Now they're like, oh crap, in February I've got a competition. So yes, for the next like 3 months, I need to work on X, Y, and Z. So yeah, the member base has definitely changed, but also the members' intentions have changed. You know, the clients, the athletes, the members have, like, their intentions have changed. Now they're training to compete, they're training to perform, they're training to actually have a goal further down the line that's not just sometimes purely aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely. It's just easier to compete. If you wanted to do like CrossFit was just like the only way you could do a CrossFit competition, and that was really only the Open, the yearly online competition if you was part of a CrossFit gym. And then they started doing in-house stuff, but now there's so many competitions if you're into CrossFit and that sort of functional fitness competitions.
Yeah.
If you like fighting, there's the white collar journey, so in 8 weeks you can be in the ring having a fight like you're a professional boxer. That happens all year round, and we host that within GymBox because we have rings within. We have a boxing facility within GymBox. GymBox is built on the concept of multiple boxes within one place. So then, you know, we have a boxing combat area within GymBox. So we know the white collar comes through. What else? If you're into, you know, I'm in the world of triathlon. There is endless triathlons, running events, cycling sportives that you could just sign up to and train for. And I think more and more people are realizing things are possible. And people used to look at somebody run a marathon and then think, oh, that would never be me. And now they're like, well, actually, I can run a half. Maybe in 2 years, I can run a marathon. And then
and like just for example, like one of the events that just me and one of my friends just competed in, the High Rocks. It's like, obviously I spend a lot of time at Victoria location, which is set up perfectly if you're going to try and train for that type of event, which is an endurance event with like sled pushes, sled pulls, carries. And the amount of people over the last like few months that have been coming in here and just been doing that and just been hammering it out. It's like you can tell straight away what this person's competing for. You know, these people who are coming to the gym, they've got like FBD knee sleeves and a bag of gummies on the side. It's like, all right, cool. That person's a powerlifter. You know that they've got a meet coming up. You know, it's super cool that like you can have these conversations, have these interactions with other people who may not necessarily be in your circle or in your world, and be like, okay, cool. What is it like for a powerlifting competition? You know, what is it like? Okay, when you are walking into a ring, it's super cool that now like you can actually have these conversations, not with just elite level athletes. You can actually have it with potentially a friend or potentially someone that you have had interaction with in the gym before. Because again, I know, for example, just having a conversation with one of the powerlifters, okay, cool. How do you warm up and how long are you corralled before you actually go and hit your 1 rep max and actually before you go and do these things? Because again, in our world, sometimes you warm up for an event at, like, let's say you're going to try and PB your snatch, or you're going to try and max out a snatch, which we had to do the other day. It's like, okay, cool. We'll hit our warm-up weights. We'll do then a 3K row as fast as we can, and then we'll be expected to go straight onto that weight that we just lifted. It's like, all right, cool. What techniques, what things can you help me with as well? That's going to allow me to set myself up right to do that. Or how can I then use that concept of, okay, what you do to help me coach some of my athletes and bits and pieces. So yeah, the people who are in the gym right now competing and who have it regularly available to them is now double, triple, like tenfold.
And because of that, actually, I don't know if you listen to this podcast. If you haven't, you better get back and listen to it.
So much.
I did a podcast with Doxy 4 weeks ago, and it was like why PTs should compete in sport, and it's literally for these reasons. And the one thing we didn't bring up was because everyone else is competing in sport. It's so good if you're there with them and you're going to the events with clients, and you're seeing people within your gym go to there. You know, so gyms can turn into communities very quickly.
Oh, 100%. Like the last event, like that big like summer event that happened, like a bunch of the girls that come to all my classes, or that like I also now like coach like one-on-one with programming, they put a team together, they entered that event, and it was just like it was almost like a weird like, oh, that's cute, I was proud like that of just like seeing these people just go from like strangers in the class to friends in the class to now teammates. Is such a like a fantastic like journey for them to go and like do, because it, like you said, just builds community. It builds that, okay, I don't want to let that person down, so I'm going to train really hard. Okay, cool. What are they doing? Are they on a program? Okay, cool. I now got to jump into a program, just because they want to be better. Because yes, they want to compete against each other, but they want to compete with each other.
Yeah, and then other people are seeing that in the gym, and they're like, yeah, I want a bit of that actually. I'm not really training for something. Like what you get now is like, massive in shape bodybuilding dudes that go, yeah, I want to do CrossFit, and I think we know who
Oh
we're
yeah.
talking about. um, yeah, he'll be listening. I'm sure he'll
Oh
listen to
yeah.
this one.
He was just here at the window, so I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, we're talking about a good friend of ours. Right, okay, so that's what's changed. So now let's talk about, mate, the types of coaching available. So I think now, and I know the people you work with, and know people I work with, and we cover the same groups of people now. You get coaching clients, you get coaching athletes, and then you get coaching PTs. So let's first of all start with the client and the athlete, and what's the difference and what they're both looking for. So what is a client looking for?
A client can be looking for anything such as like short-term aesthetic-based goals. It can be general like health and fitness goals. It could be like a targeted, okay, I had an injury here before, so I need to work on this specific strength. So usually the goal of that person is very like specific in terms, very specific, but also very vague at the same time in terms of I want to get fitter. Okay, cool. What does fitter look like for you? Or I want to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What do you mean by stronger? Because you can easily have someone come up to you and be like, okay, I've never lifted weights before. I want to get stronger. But then they're like, I don't want to get too bulky. And it's like, all right, cool. Having those conversations like weekly of that will never happen to you ever
Mm-hmm.
because you don't eat
Mm-hmm.
enough. You're too small. Like it won't ever happen. It's like, it's very specific, but very vague at the same time. So it's a lot of, it's very much like a dialogue you got to have and like a interaction you got to have with that person just to really try and find out what they actually want, and you actually have to do a little bit of coaching and actually be a very good human in a sense, and just have like really good like psychosocial skills to try and dig out what they actually want, what they mean by that, and try to like navigate that journey together where you are trying to give them what they want, give them what they need, make them enjoy it, make them come back, and actually just like give them an all-round a good experience of
Mm-hmm.
being in the gym with you for however long it may be. That's going to be your general like client. You have other clients that work with like other PTs who are like, I've got this holiday, I want to be ripped by then.
Mm-hmm.
And you have more like aesthetic based people who, again, if you are that coach, you may find that your turnover of like clients and stuff like that may be high because if you are an aesthetic based coach, people's aesthetic goals change and they come in, they come out, versus you find the people who are like, I just want to be fitter and healthier. That's a never ending journey, So
Mm-hmm.
it's different. Like, so they're very specific, but also very vague with your
Yeah.
average general like client versus when you have an athlete or when you are working with someone who's at now a way more advanced level, who's, okay, I've got a competition in Madrid, okay, at this date, make me ready. And it's like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, cool. That's very specific. You should know this person in and out. You need to know
Mm-hmm.
what they're weak at, what they're strong at. You need to give them stuff that they hate all the time,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
because that's what they need to do to improve as an athlete. Like, yes, you can give them all the stuff they're great at. Let's just say they're great at rowing. Cool. What's the point of
Yeah.
helping them row if they're crap on the bike? So
Mm-hmm.
an athlete, you are almost taking that option away from them of, okay, cool, this is going to be fun. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not going to be fun. Sometimes it's going to be crap.
Mm-hmm.
That athlete has a goal in mind. They have a specific target that they want to hit, whether it be, I want to play top 5, I want to play top 10, I want to
Mm-hmm.
just do well, I want to go unbroken on my muscle ups, which I've never done before. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very specific goal. Okay, cool. So you have to then chip away at those 1% every single day, which to them will feel really tough because they're
Mm-hmm.
constantly doing the stuff they're bad at. So that's where you have to do a lot more coaching in terms of, okay, cool, but this is why we're doing it. Explaining the process, explaining the science behind it really as well in terms of, okay, cool, but if we keep doing this, this will happen, this adaptation will happen, therefore you will be fitter, stronger, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So with athletes, it's very much, okay, cool, what mindset do they have? What are their
Mm-hmm.
goals? And then trying to marry the two together. Because if someone is a very much like, a lot of athletes are very like extrinsically motivated because they want to perform well and achieve X like position or podium or achievement. But also you need to find what like intrinsically motivates them as well. It's like, okay, cool. They like to compete. They like to work hard because I don't know, they've just had this through their life before and they like to make themselves proud, or they like to like go to the gym, just like feel that accomplishment of being able to add an extra kilo onto the barbell, do one more pull up unbroken, bits and pieces like that. So with an athlete, you have to really try and tap into what motivates them and actually
Yeah.
then just drive and use that as like the driving force every single time that they have that little bit of, okay, but why am I doing all this stuff that I'm bad at? It's like, you're bad at it because we haven't done it before, and then let's drive it forward together.
Yeah, you're completely right. When I send out PARQs, not PARQs, an online lifestyle questionnaire to clients, and I give them a section to put their goals, and I give examples of SMART goals of like things they can hit. And some people will go, I want to improve my 3 rep max back squat from 90 kilos to 100 kilos by the end of the year, which may be in like 10 weeks time. You're like, okay, that's a goal. That's a very measurable goal. And then you'll get other people who go stronger, leaner, faster.
Yeah.
Stronger, leaner, faster sounds good, but that's
Yeah.
that's not wrong. That's it's just not specific. But then that's our job to fine tune those. Right, that's our
Exactly.
job. So I think like you're right in saying the biggest difference between a client and an athlete is also their commitment level and
Yeah.
lifestyle balance. And someone who's trying to be an amateur athlete, and treat themselves and live that life, you don't have to convince them to go to the gym. You don't
Oh
need
yeah,
to.
no, they're in bed by 9 every day. They're like
Yeah,
up, they've got their meal prep, they're cool eating like chicken and rice or whatever it may be. Like they're in the gym slogging it out on those cold mornings. I don't want to be here. Yeah, they're there.
yeah. Yeah, you've not got to motivate them to turn up. You've not got to put structure in the week, or no, sorry, not structure. You've not got to try to fit fitness in the week. Fitness is very much there. They're looking for
Yeah.
fine tuning, structure within their training because they're lost and they're looking for their next step. They've hit that wall. So when PTs a floor walk in, and I say it all the time on my course, if you hit somebody and you're chatting to them, and they're seen as an advanced member, your conversation is what are they missing, and it's normally that next step. And the only reason they will sign up with you or engage in a conversation if they think you're the one to take them to that next step. But they need
Yeah.
fine tuning. They know for them to improve by for them to improve to add 2.5 kilo on their 3 rep max back squat, they know that's going to take a 6 week strength cycle. It's not
Yeah.
going to just happen.
Exactly.
Their newbie gains are completely gone. They know each increment they climb from here is complete fine tuning. When
A
I was
hundred
rowing,
percent.
oh my god, the work I had to do just to drop my average split by 1 second,
Yeah.
across
Crazy.
2,000 meters, like all that effort to drop an average split per 500 meters by 1 second. But that would be
Yeah.
such a 4 seconds over 2K is a huge difference, and that's
Yeah.
when you get down to a certain level.
A
Yeah,
hundred percent. And that athlete and client like perception of you as a coach as well is very, very um, detailed in terms of any, let's just say, gen pop client or member comes to the gym who's like, I want a PT. They will trust you 100% because you are the professional. Like you're the professional.
yeah,
They're not too
yeah,
sure. They will just trust you. However, that athlete will be very skeptical of you to start with because there's essentially 100 other PTs or 100 other like online coaches or CrossFit coaches, gymnastic coaches, or whatever, who claim to say that they can give you 2 extra kilos onto your back squat. So why should I trust you?
yeah,
What's your philosophy of coaching? What is like the reason why you seem to be like the best fit for me? So like athlete selection of the coach as well is a lot more in depth and a lot more processed and thought about because, like I said, they know they are willing to put the work in, but they need to know that you're willing to deliver the product that will actually allow them to do it because they have no trouble doing the work. But it's just now the things that you're writing, will that actually allow them to get what they want? So the selection process of the PT and coach as well is very, very like different as well in terms of the first one, you're expected to know what you're doing. So they'll trust you. The second one, they're very skeptical of you because yes, you should, but do I actually believe you? Have you shown me the proof? What's your evidence of being able to like coach with these people?
yeah. And and then there's just a grey line when someone's not a new client, not a new trainer. They're an advanced client. They just don't have athletic. They just don't have a competitive goal.
Yeah,
But also that could always come. That could no, I guess it could also come in a form of they just might want to get stronger. So their
yeah,
competitive angle is I want to improve my bench press. I want to get this many pull-ups. That. So I guess
yeah, 100%.
that's that's their that's their competitive advantage when they switch from a
Yeah,
client to an athlete.
there's so many
Yeah.
people that I know who follow a quote unquote competitive program. However, they don't compete. They don't do any competition.
Okay, so that's the difference between clients and athletes, and then we've got this new era coming in, which I love, is PTs. coaching PTs, and I feel like
Yep.
that's definitely come in a lot more over the last few years. Last 5 years, it's just got more in depth. People are looking for that. I mean, the bodybuilding world has always been great at this. PTs that want to do bodybuilding always get coached. They always have a coach because they don't know where to start with their comp prep. Then they need like posing prep. They need all of that. So then they've been quite good for years and years, always getting a coach. But then I've always found a lot of PTs don't. They always like self-coach, self-write their programs.
Yep.
And of course I've done that. I've always been quite good at following other people's programs. It started off on all the CrossFit sites, getting those off, and then it went to, the training plan, for example, was Annie Ford's daughter's coach wrote this online generic program. I was like, let's go there. And I've always took training programs like that, but I know a lot of PTs don't. They tend to just know a style they like and then they stick to that. But if you definitely found more PTs are looking for one-to-one coaching for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said there, the bodybuilding world, they've been doing it forever. They've always been, okay, I've got no experience currently of going through the process of peaking. Okay, cool. Now game day prep. How does my dehydration look? What does my nutrition look like? All these specific things that are relevant to their sport. You'll only ever find out once you've done it. And if you're going into that blind, obviously you're not going to do it well. So you'll take from that and then you'll learn it. And then you're like, all right, cool. Now, again, the pros and cons of that, because now someone feels as if they've gone through that process and they've done it, they can now then teach someone else straight away.
Yeah.
So that's like a pro and a con of it, because again, the people who do it really, really well have been doing that for years. They've done it themselves for years. And then they're like, okay, cool, I've refined my process down to this, and I understand that this is the best way of doing it. And then they can then start coaching. So for me, for example, moving into Westfield that I did over 6 years ago now, it was bodybuilding coach heavy. You had some of the best people in the world. So I remember one of the guys came like third in like the bodybuilding worlds at that time. There was another guy who had shoulders the size of my head. Excuse me. There was another female who's just gone through. Everyone, and they were like, every PT had their pro card and was sponsored by some sort of protein. So being in that world, you saw it happening more because you saw their training, you saw what their training looked like, you had conversations with them. It was like, okay, cool, but how does this work? What is it like? And it's always interested me, not to do it, 100% not to do it, but to like have like one of these people sit down and be like, okay, cool, what does your nutrition then look like? Because if I was to go to a bodybuilder coach and be like, hey, can you do my nutrition for me? It wouldn't be sufficient for the sport and like the training that I do, because it is very much, okay, cool, carb control, and all these other little things where it's like, okay, cool, but I need to do like, I don't know, like 20K road today. I need carbs. So it's like the nutrition doesn't match up. So it's very interesting to like have those conversations just to learn to have that sort of knowledge in your back pocket. And also then when and like why to utilize it. So 100% are people now looking for more coaching because, like I said, they've been doing it forever. So now it's just opening up the field for everyone. Powerlifters are getting powerlifting coaches, CrossFitters are getting CrossFit coaches. And the beauty of the sport that we do and like that I do, CrossFit, is like it's the best sport because you can have such specialty coaches in so many different aspects of the sport. You can have a gymnastics coach, you can have a weightlifting coach, you can have a conditioning coach. Like all these elements of it are fantastic because, okay, cool, if I want to improve my gymnastics, okay, cool, let's actually go speak to a gymnastics coach, see what their thoughts and feelings are on this, see how they implement it, and more of those people are getting into, I find, the sport of CrossFit. You're now finding, let's just take an example, like the HWPO. He has a specific weightlifting coach, he has a specific strongman coach, and it just helps utilize your coaching base when you have all these other knowledges of different sports and different training backgrounds that you can actually now go provide them to a coach. So if you're a coach looking for a program and this umbrella of training methods and fitness underneath them, okay, cool, that's going to be the person for me. So yeah, if you can just upskill your education as a coach, you're going to be so much more attractive to other coaches looking for help with you.
Yeah, definitely. Like from the sporting world, I've always had a coach in terms of for the sport. When I went rowing, I had a rowing coach sit in the boat, a power boat next to me while I rowed down the river every day. When I was playing rugby, I went to rugby training. There was a rugby coach there, and then it's only when I, in between rugby and CrossFit, but also the weights to support the strength and conditioning work to support my rugby training whilst I was doing that was then just getting stuff offline and following structured programs. But so now and now I do triathlon. All my stuff comes from like Wahoo. They do all my programming for my triathlon stuff because I've said it a few times on the podcast. Like, it's something I'm trying to get into and learn more about. I either make up myself and overtrain, highly likely overtrain, and just do too much or too little of something. Easy to do too much more. That's normally the issue, isn't it? It's always easy to go over the top.
Yeah, let's add a couple of extra percent here and just, oh, no, that's a bit too much. I don't think I can do that one rep at that weight.
And then all your workouts are red workouts. They're like destroying you, and then you're suddenly fried or injured. So that's what, because of the volume I do, I have all that structure because I love seeing new programming. So what else are PTs looking for? Why would, mentoring, really? I think PT could be like...
Mentoring, education. Again, so like a great example of this was, again, back in the day, I think before, I followed Brute. When I started like doing CrossFit a few years ago, it was Brute because I liked the concept that they had a weightlifting coach, they had a gymnastics coach, they had like Hinshaw as their conditioning coach. So it's like all these different minds were just being like mashed together into this like one like program. I don't think it's like that anymore, but that concept of, okay, cool, you have elite level people inputting their knowledge into like one program that allowed you as a coach to now like understand. And I was like, okay, cool, I've now spent some time doing this. You'll then jump to potentially a different program, whether it be like the training plan or something like that, to understand, okay, cool, this bunch of coaches or this coach here has this understanding of this, but this person does this differently and this person does that differently. And just from having a coach like myself, whether it be like one of these like training programs, you can see things that you like, things that you don't like, and then you can implement it in your own coaching. Like, for example, a lot of my coaching is very like gymnastic biased because the understanding of the movement in that fascinates me. I enjoy it. And also I believe it as like a training philosophy moving forward. If you are better at understanding your body in space and time, I can guarantee you're going to be a better weightlifter because you understand how to jump. If you know how to kick properly and open up your hips and explode through the hips, you're going to be a better weightlifter when it comes to the bar. Obviously, they're two very different like sports, but just being aware through gymnastics will allow you to be better at weightlifting. So like the ability to take things that you like from programs, from different coaches, it's great. And I always say like one person should never really have like one coach from start to finish of their training journey. Just because again, you've never seen what's out there, like you've never seen what's gone out there. You don't know what you're missing out on, but also you don't know what you've got. As in, you could easily go somewhere else and be like, okay, cool, but I like the way that my guy or my coach or whoever it may be did this. I don't like the way that they do that. So sometimes it's appreciation, but also, I like that, I'm missing that.
And to work on your weaknesses, because you do it yourself, you're just going to do your favourite things. You're just going to be benching 3 times a week, and and that's it.
Can't remember the last time I benched.
Oh, you make me sick. So mentoring, education, development. So coaching clients, coaching athletes, coaching PTs, but something that is consistent, is going to be consistent across all 3 of them, mate, is accountability, structure, consistency. That's what you're trying to provide to all of them. It's just on a different scale and commitment level. Right. Okay. Types of coaching done. What do PTs need to do? So let's move into 2023. This was meant to be a 30-minute podcast, but we're going to go over because there's quite an interesting conversation. So what do PTs need to focus on going into 2023? If we look back at, I just want to give some tips because things are changing, and something you cover a lot in your courses is assessments. It's like doing a form of assessment, right? I think, once upon a time, FMS screening come out and a couple of people jumped onto that. But let's talk about assessments. What can you do and why that's important? And for PTs not doing it currently.
100%. Like I always say, especially on the course, if you've got a new client coming towards you and they just say, hey, I want to be fitter, stronger, whatever it may be. It's like, all right, cool. they say that, but an assessment an assessment process tells you where they are right now. You know, what has happened to this person, whether it be injury, training background, lifestyle, which has brought you to this point right now. Okay, no one's fresh out the womb, no issues, no problems, no nothing. You know, everyone always has something wrong with them. Always, always, always. Whether it be they externally rotate through their hip a little bit too much on this side, or they've got shoulder internal rotation a little bit more on one side on the other. Why? You know, like why? And I always talk about why you need to like ask so many questions in terms of what they do for work, what sport did they play. Maybe not now, but for example, when they were like 12 years old. A good example of that was I asked someone to just do a squat for me. They did a squat, and they were very like shifty and rotating around to the side. And you're like, okay, cool. Why? You ask a couple of questions. What sport do you play? Blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh, yeah, I was rowing when I was at like school and university. I was like, cool. How many times were you rowing a week? Oh, about 4 times a week. I'm like, all right, cool. And again, for me, in terms of a boat, I didn't really have the knowledge of which one was which. I was like, did you use 2 sticks or did you use one? That was basically my question. Because again, if you're using one, you're just rotating and rotating and rotating. So then they've got into this movement pattern of whenever they press their legs out, they're going to rotate. And that was basically why they were squatting the way they were. So if I didn't do that assessment first and then loaded them with a barbell, they're going to be rotating. Now the load pressing down into their spine, you know, and it's just going to be a terrible outcome. So you have to like assess someone to find out why they're here right now and how they've got here, you know, and that can be everything from just movement, but also just questions, you know, just questions. You can see a ton from someone and you can get loads of information. Like it's a good little party trick, especially I like to do on the course, is get someone laying down on the floor, arms over their head, go shake, 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 go limp, and then you literally just pick it apart and be like, all right, cool, this is this and this is that. There's more muscle bulk on your left, more muscle bulk on your right. Whatever it may be. Cool, do you play football? Cool, are you right-footed? All these little like different elements of it, and literally just from someone laying on the floor, you know, and you can just be like, okay, you can see now what movement patterns are potentially going to occur when you start now exercising this person. So movement screen or a movement assessment is super important because one, you're going to keep them safe. Like our primary like goal as a coach is prevent injury first, and then our second is improve performance. You know, so we have to make sure the person in front of us is going to be safe and healthy, and then we can then start looking at improving performance. So assessments are super important because they may tell you they've hurt their ankle. You're like, yep, cool. And as soon as you go to do a lunge or a jump, it just crumbles underneath them. You're at fault. You didn't do your due diligence as a coach to actually like assess this first. So assessments are super important to help deliver your knowledge as a coach, to help the client there in front of you trust you, but then also just to make sure, again, you're doing your role as a coach of making sure you're going to be able to improve this person, but even if it's in like the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it's that good old, you know, you listen to what they want, but you're just going to give them what they need. You know, you'll be like, okay, you know, these are your goals, but I'm also going to chip away at these little things before they become a thing. It's that pre-habby. You're not injured yet, but you will be. You're going to get injured because just the way you move, it's going to happen. Oh, mate, have you ever seen a hockey player? One of my friends played hockey at an incredibly high level, and he was smoked for a while because, you know, he is 6'2". It's just a long way down to the floor. Well, it's not just round. It's round to one side because even though you can bounce, you move the stick, but play on the inside outside. You're always going to have a dominant side, so you're constantly tackling, constantly leaning down to one side. And I remember when he was really getting into assessments, he was just like, "Why am I all squiff?" And he had to work so hard to re-straighten himself up. But like that would lead to a blown out hip, a blown out disc. You know, eventually it's coming. You know, injuries are coming unless you build a strong frame and fix imbalances.
Exactly.
You can complain about tight hamstrings for a little bit. But like, if you don't sort them, lower back pain will find you, my friend.
Yeah.
It is coming your way, and it might not come your way as like a little bit of pain or a bit of soreness in the morning, or it might come your way in terms of a real, you know, you'll pick the dog out of the car and then you'll blow your back and it'll go properly gone. And it's not because of the dog; it's because of years of like not looking after yourself.
And that's exactly what I say to people. It's like, okay, you're great now. It's not going to be a problem right now, but somehow, this will cause you a problem, you know, like, yes, when you go into a full like spine flexion and just like rolling over to down touch your toes and you're leaning off to one side. Yeah, great. That's not a problem right now, but that will be a problem for you. Like at some point, somehow that will be a problem for you. And then you're going to be back to see me and you're going to be like, why did that happen? How did that happen? How can we fix it? And I'm like, listen to me a couple of months ago.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Exactly.
Right, so assessment processes. You can go as far. You can take this to the extreme, or you can dumb it right down and just have some movement checks before you start. But if you're a PT that doesn't do the movement assessment, that's something for you to study next.
Yeah.
While we're talking about processes, what about processes in general? Now, one thing that especially some of the trainers I've met as well, they all say the same thing. The trainers that have been PTs for 5-10 years, COVID happened, decided to move full-time online for a bit and then get back into the gym. One thing they talked about was the importance of processes, and online can sometimes force you to go that route. Like, because you don't see people in person, weekly check-ins, monthly reviews, checking in like movement, like requesting video feedback. Let's talk about that. So PTs improving processes in general.
Yeah, 100%. So like I know for me, one of the big days of like processes is a Sunday. So like my clients, all my online like athletes will have their process, will have their programming set to them. They'll go through their week. Any specific like days that they have issues with, I'll just get a text or a message from. But most of the time, everything will get like reviewed like on a weekly, just because again, one day of training doesn't equate to a week of training. One day you may feel rough, one day you may feel shit, one day you may feel good. We'll look at it in like a totality of a week, and then we'll look at that in the totality of a block or a month or whatever it may be. But every Sunday, I'm sat there at the PC, looking through the videos, comments, feedback. Next day, same exact thing. Just go through the whole week of this one person. Okay, cool. Then if I need to make any adjustments to their following week based on that, make those adjustments, throw it up for them, let them have a look. Any questions, any comments, they'll message me. And then literally just do that for every single person. And I know for me, that's the Sunday plan, because if everyone trains Monday to Saturday, then I need to wait until Sunday or Saturday night to actually get all of that information. I can't, if they are squatting on a Tuesday and squatting on a Thursday, and I jump in and start embedding comments on a Wednesday, okay, cool, but I haven't seen what's happened in these 2 days. Like, have they seen something themselves? Have they actually made themselves a little bit self-aware on this day to actually now adapt their second? So for me, processes of like that online feedback, comments, and reply happens on the Sunday. In terms of everything that goes around that, I try and get everything as automated as possible, because sometimes, for me, I'm great at the coaching. Sometimes I'm terrible at getting paid for the coaching. So for me, I know sometimes I'll have people message me, be like, hey, I need to pay you for a while. I'm like, crap, great. So again, if you have like an online platform, a lot of like online platforms now have the ability to attach payments to them. Like I know TrueCoach has them, I know Fitter has them, where you can literally get paid through the app, and it's all just in one area, and it's super smooth and super simple. That's great. If you have like online, if you have like one-to-one people, again, it's completely different on like a coach-to-coach basis. But I know for me, I try and keep my processes as straightforward as I can in terms of if like training blocks, I personally don't work in packages in terms of 10, 5, whatever it may be. I go 4 weeks at a time, because that's how I program. I go 4 weeks programming at a time, in terms of I'll sit down and write the 4 weeks at a time, whether it be a 12, 16 week block, whatever. So I know for me, every 4 weeks, it basically pre-generates invoices, it pre-generates notifications for me to be like a check-in on this person's program. Have you done this? Have you done that? Like all like the admin processes happens for me every 4 weeks. It's super simple. In terms of like checking in with people who are away, again, that gets an automated notification being like a check in with this person, or like I'll update, this is their last session of the week, drop a message, see how everything was. If I get to Saturday and I've got loads of red crosses next to someone's name, they're definitely getting a message being like, hey, what's up? What's going on? So automation of things that sometimes we're not great at, or sometimes that are easily forgotten, it's super important. Super important. Make your life as easy as possible, so then you're not sat there trying to chase people for this and that. You're worried about the coaching, you're worried about the person who's in front of you, you're worried about, okay, cool, I need to sit down and write this person's work. You're worried about the fitness and the training, and the business is essentially taking care of itself around that.
Yeah, I mean, like, processes are very much stuff I teach on the courses, and you know, some of us are a little bit better with behind the scenes stuff, and some of us are better practitioners and in the business delivering the work, and I think a blend of you and me would be quite good, actually, mate.
Yeah.
But I, you know, you don't want to stress yourself out of this, but you want to kind of come up with stuff that you can, find a day to do stuff in. I have days when I check my fitness pal, for example, to check who's filled in their nutrition. I have days when I do my programming. I have days when I might send certain messages, because if you can kind of make like a weekly routine of how you're going to do stuff, that's going to set you up great. So don't super stress yourself out, especially if you're just starting. Like, things you can do is like, well, let's just add a process in for all my clients first, and let's see what that looks like, and then you can keep growing and growing. And this is like a never-ending game, right? Like, I'm talking to you now, listening to you, thinking, oh, I could do a lot different, actually. I could, I need to tidy up my processes. And you're constantly chasing that. Like, coaching is a never-ending process of becoming a better coach. Your goal is to always become a better coach, learn more. And that's the best thing about our career is, and our career journey is, it doesn't end, because you can just keep becoming a greater coach, and then you attract different clients as you grow.
Exactly. 100%. Like, literally implemented this week. I moved my calendar that I used to just like keep updated with like my daily processes from the basic Apple calendar to now just a Google calendar. Why? Literally because of the pure basis, they have more colors. They have more colors and they're a bigger color spectrum. So then when I have to do stuff, I can then have clients at Westfield this color, clients at Victoria that color, classes at Westfield this color. And literally just, it sounds so silly, but having more colors makes me look at my week and understand exactly what I need to do, where I need to do, where I need to be, and all these things. And something as simple as having more colors makes a massive difference now for me in terms of my week, because I can see it now in color form. So just making a tiny little process change of going from one calendar system to a different allows you to just be so much more productive in your time, and just look at it quickly and be like, yellow, Victoria, cool, go. Simple.
Yeah, good. I can't believe your clients chase you to pay you. I have to literally knock on my clients' doors like a. I have to send round the heavies. I have to send round the heavies to get paid, mate. Yeah. Right. We need to wrap this up in 8 minutes, mate. We can't go over an hour. I like an hour. Okay, just a couple more things I want to talk about what PTs can do, like software. It's funny, when I talk to Doxy about software, she goes, all the old school body coaches live on Excel. They love an Excel, and you and me are very much online programming software. Now, we're going to talk about two of them, because we both used True Coach for a very long time, but you also do group programming as well, don't you? So you find Fitter quite a good one to use, and you'll explore that now.
Yeah. So like each has their own like pros and cons, and they're both fantastic in their own fields. So I find True Coach is great for like individual coaching, because you can make loads of like quick adaptations to it, and it's more of a simple I find more of a simple sign up process. The videos are a little bit like easier to watch. I think they have a bit of a bigger video library at the moment than Fitter, but I'll touch on that in a second. But in terms of like an individual just like looking at their program and doing it, I find personally it's a little bit easier. The experience of going onto it and looking at it is a little bit more like friendly for especially someone who hasn't done programming before. It's a little bit more of the interface is a little bit like easier to play around with. However, if you have got like a really good like advanced athlete who wants to be very, very time efficient, who has I've got this drive now, I'll go a little bit further, then sometimes actually Fitter is actually really great for that. Because one thing that I wish True Coach had, which Fitter doesn't, is the ability to input your metrics in terms of, this is my 1 rep max squat, and then on the backside, for example, on Fitter, you literally are sitting down there doing the programming, you type in a little bit of code in, so then when this person inputs their 1 rep max, like whatever it may be, automatically up on their phone, and on that day it comes up, you're doing 5x5 at that weight, and that weight is, like I said, what you've done in the backside of things, 80% of their 1 rep max. So that's one thing that True Coach doesn't have, which I wish it did, because then it just makes it so much easier. So like stuff like that, a little bit more like programming on the Fitter side of things is great. As in, you can type in your 2K row. So then if I'm like, okay, hold your 2K row minus 2 seconds per 500 meters, it tells you exactly what split time to hold. So that person who's coming into the gym is like, I don't want to think. They don't then need to pull up a calculator to do all these little things. However, I find the video library and again, just because I was using TrueCoach for a little bit longer, the video library that I built up on there is so much higher. So when I want things, a specific video or specific things, then it's easier to access through that. So pros and cons of each.
Yeah.
But what I find that Fitter does really great at, in if you've got like 4 or 5 people, let's just say you've got a team of 4 or 5 people who are training towards, they want to build a team to go compete in a CrossFit or a functional fitness like competition, and they all want the same sort of thing. They don't want pure specific individualized to them. You can create a group program on Fitter and they can all follow it along step by step, day by day, along the exact same journey, and that's really, really easily done because they all just like jump onto the same programming, and it's literally updated for them every single day. And it's just, you update one program, it updates all 5 of theirs for them. So it's super simple. If you are a PT, if you're a coach who has a niche, for example, I train only, let's say, females between the age of X and Y. Let's say you are that type of coach. Okay, cool. You can create a group training program specifically around that niche, and anyone who literally wants to come and do that programming, they can literally jump on that and start from day 1 of that program. So you can do a lot of work beforehand and write a 90-day program, and that person can literally just jump onto your site, press play, press buy, or whatever it may be, and start at day 1 of that program. So it's super cool. Each app or each like software has its own pros and cons. So it's good to like have a good understanding of both and utilize both if that's something that you can do as a coach and you don't mind jumping between 2 things and like having that like understanding. Because I know one thing I think Fitter is doing now, they've got a lot of investment into it. A lot of, especially in the CrossFit world, a lot of like big boxes use that software and use that programming for their obviously group programming. I think they're now giving you the ability to now, I think, potentially personalize it a little bit more and have your own branding behind it, which I know TrueCoach does as well. TrueCoach, you can like put your logo, everything comes up with like your banners and your headers. So again, everything now is just getting a little bit more, okay, how can we improve the experience for the person using the app and using the software as the client? But also, how can we make it now a little bit more individualized to you as the coach? How can you put your product out there using our platform?
Good, yeah. So like, basically from this, the main thing someone needs, what I want to kind of get out of this as well is you can use Excel, but like, going into 2023, like Aaron just said, there's so much good software out there that doing such cool things. Someone might argue with me this, but
anytime that I see someone using Excel for programming, I can't help but think Nelly and Kelly dilemma, her writing a text in Excel. I can't help but think that. It's like, we've come further than that. We can provide a better program. We can provide a better product than just text in a square.
There's some things that happen that are pretty good with some software companies. They let you white label it. I don't think these companies do just yet, but they let you white label it, so you put your logo, your business name, while the software works behind that. But I know you get people trying to build their own apps. I would say, the good thing about paying a company is that, and it's not expensive. It works out £2 to £5 per client, depending on how many clients you've got. It's really not expensive. My advice for somebody that's looking for software that doesn't use software is to try them all, because they all come with 2 weeks free trials. Because the reason they come with a free trial is because once you sign up to it, you'll be on it for life. I've been on TrueCoach for about 7 years. It used to be called Fitbot, and then it changed to TrueCoach. So every month, my direct debit goes out. I don't, $100 a month, whatever it is. I don't even care, because it's one of my business costs, because my life wouldn't exist without it. My PT product 100%. Would go down the pan without it. So my advice is, once you choose one, you're probably going to like it, enjoy it. And the thing is with software, once you find a way of using one, you get so efficient with your time with using it, and you're just going to stay with it. It's going to serve your clients. It's going to make your life easier. It's a process for you. I always say, if I was to give you 20 clients right now and told you to write a program and get them set up next week, would it be a massive drama, or do you have processes in your business to kind of do that? And exactly. How would you do programming? It's like, I'll use this software, the client gets set up this way, I'd write them this message to send them, and then I know how to program. I might use this style of template, and that's, software and processes fall nicely into play with each other.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
you know, just while we're here, one thing I do get with True Coach is a referral link. So I will put a referral link to True Coach. I don't use Fitter, mate, but if you have a Fitter referral link, we'll put that in the comments. I'm not a big one for referrals. I am, but I don't like chuck them about. But with these, like, I know the True Coach one is pretty good. The True Coach one is 2 weeks free, and then if you sign up, we both get $100 credited to our True Coach account. See if Fit has got one, mate, because we'll put those in the links. And if you are looking for software and don't use software, then give it a go, because it's 2023. Very soon, you should be using software.
Yeah, everyone has a Mac nowadays as well, and that doesn't come with Excel. So like, people are buying Excel to use Excel when they can be using software.
So true. Okay, we'll start summing up, mate, because we covered quite a lot there. You know, I always like bullet point kind of things we're going to talk through, and like the subject just kept going, which is great because this is a big subject of what people can do.
I just waffle as well.
Yeah, and that. I guess the summary then, as we're going to 2023, is we need to step it up. We all need to be better. The standard in life is getting higher, and we should be better. You know, be better is probably the way we're going to sum up this.
Yeah, like the product that we're delivering, how we hold ourselves as coaches, like how self-aware we are of how we're coaching. You know, like self-awareness of the coach is massively underrated. It's like, okay, go ask one of the other PTs how they feel that you PT. Like that will give you a good indication of how you're coaching. You know, and it's great because they'll be like, yeah, cool. It seems like you sit a lot. You know, and it's like, okay, cool. That's not the impression that I feel like I give out. So, okay, cool. Then I need to make that adaptation. You know, like just being being really, really self-aware of your own like actions as a coach when you are in a one-to-one basis. Being really aware of, okay, cool. How does my interactions with my online people look? Does it look like I'm lazy? Does it look like I'm on the ball? Does it look like if I'm using a software, do I look really professional? Or if I'm using Excel, does it come across in the right way? Like, is everything like color coded, or is it just like block format? You know, like whatever way you're doing it, just being really self-aware of how you as a product, how you as a coach is being like looked upon by your peers, but also the people that you're trying to deliver your product to. You know, you don't walk past a coffee shop and be like, oh, that looks a bit grim, I'll go try it. You know, like it's one of those things. You have to be really, really just like appealing to obviously potential new clients who are going to pay you money to like use your services, but also as like other coaches to be like, you want to be respected in your peers, you want to be respected in your field. So it's okay, cool, if you have all the tools in place and you deliver the product that you say you can with your vast knowledge of exercise training, all these other elements, then you will be a better coach and you will attract those better clients, and you will be moving forward inside the next year basically being like, okay, cool, I am a coach of 2023 because I have all of these things in place. I know I can provide a service that is not in the past, you know?
Yeah, mate, that's so well said.
Mate, just take that and just like...
I think I'm going to make that into a reel. There you go. That was good. I might just put that as a podcast. That's all we needed, actually, instead of this whole hour.
The last 45 minutes, pointless.
Because, I mean, like you say, how you look in your peers. The thing is with this job, it is a hard job. It is a very tough job. You can't be your best self all the time. You know, you can't be your best 100% self all the time. But all you can do is constantly try to make 1% improvements in everything you do, and just always trying to step up. And when you are on the gym floor, you're saying, for these 3 hours I'm coaching, I'll be my best self today, and then I'll back off, I'll go behind the scenes, I'll relax. But when I'm on the gym floor, this is when I'm going to step it up. And then all the process will support that. Good.
Yeah,
okay,
I
mate.
Sorry, I was going to say, because I know for myself, like throughout a day, I'm multiple people, you know, like I'm a different person based on which client I'm speaking to, you know, like like you, for example, you can have a client who doesn't like massively loud noises, doesn't like an aggressive PT. Okay, cool. So you're talking to that person, you're delivering them information. But in the next session after that, you may have someone who like needs that motivation. They need to be like, come on, let's go, let's work. You may then, right after that, have the client who like wants technical coaching. So you're going to speak in very few words and a lot more actions and a lot more demonstrated. Then if you're teaching a class, you need to be energetic. You need to be like really, really like loud and energetic. So it's like, you have to like really understand who you are and who's in front of you and deliver the best person that's going to help that individual in front of you. Because ultimately they want something from you and you need to deliver it, you know, and you need to deliver it in the best way that they can understand. We've all had that teacher at school who you didn't like because they didn't teach you the way you know that you need to be taught, and you have then that other teacher who got you so well. It's like you need to be that teacher to every single individual. So you need to be flexible, you need to be dynamic as a coach, and display the best self that's going to like relay the best knowledge and best information to the person in front of you, which will be different person to person.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go, mate. Quote that one as well.
Aaron, how do people find you? I would say Instagram, but once a quarter you do a post.
Yeah, once a quarter I'll do a post. Yeah, so Instagram would be the best bet. Or just find me in the gym training, whatever. But at Cook Fitness on Instagram, like I said, you may get like a montage of like a competition once every like few months or whatever, or the odd story. Maybe you'll find coffee, shoes, training. That's basically as simple as it sounds.
That's you. Right, I'll put a link up. Give Aaron a follow. We'll definitely get him back on the podcast for another episode, and we'll do maybe a few shorter episodes. Right, everyone, that's it this week for Coach's Corner. Thanks for listening. And yeah, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Thank you, Aaron. That was great, mate. See you next week.
Take care, man.